I get it. 10 fresh tips and tricks for Photopea. Let me show you how can we do a proper circle crop in Photopea. So here's my image, and one way of doing that is to simply draw a circle using the built-in shape tool. So I head for shape tool, ellipse, and then I start drawing. Hold shift on your keyboard for 1:1 perfect circle proportions. All right, you can reduce opacity a bit so you can see through the circle, and it will help you out with a position. All right, if you want to scale this up and down like that with your mouse, you can do it. Simply turn on controls. They should be on by default while you just created a new shape like that. I didn't kind of confirm the initial size of it yet, so let's do it just right now. Okay, keep in mind I can still change the size of it. Just turn on those transform controls here from the menu and you still have control. Okay, I'm ready to crop, so bump the opacity back to 100. Now we're going to place this shape under the layer with the image. Right click on the layer with the image and select clipping mask. And now this image is clipped inside that circle. You can hold Command or Control and click on that circle to select that area. It will be way easier now to crop around. Head to the image menu at the top left and select crop. Everything will be cropped out into the selection we just made. And we are done. Now you can save it as PNG, File, Export as PNG. And here it is, a perfect circle crop with a transparency here. Now you can place it on any other project. All right, before we go, one more method. In method number 2, you don't need to draw a shape. You just grab a proper ellipse selection. Select the area, hold shift for 1:1 proportions like that. Keep in mind, we can still move the selection if you really want, so you can move it. If you head to select, transform selection, you can move it. All right. And now we can just click here at the bottom below your layer panel, add raster mask. Now we mask everything around this area. And this time let's use the crop tool. Instead of automatic crop, I will just do a manual crop. So I simply crop the image to be a bit smaller. Like that, using crop tool, confirm with OK. And again, we managed to make a circle crop. The method number 1 is a bit more flexible, but this is like also a good method. And of course, next we need to export this as the brand new file. As you may know, Photopea offers just one-click background eraser. Simply select your layer, head to select menu at the very top, and you will see remove BG, remove backdrop. Click on that. It will process your image for a moment. And here it is. That's not what I want, all right? I just plan to remove the sky, and then they remove everything around this bicycle. So how can we get a more manual approach to this? Let's try to use a special eraser tool for erasing background. So click and hold on the eraser tool. You will see that 3 options inside. Let's select the middle one, background eraser. Okay. I recommend to zoom in a bit. I like to use Command+ on my keyboard to zoom in. Alright, so here we are. My eraser is really tiny compared to this huge image, so I'll increase the size of the eraser. Okay, and now the important part of this eraser is the middle part of the eraser need to touch the backdrop. So we cannot like go all the way down here. We need to keep at least 50% of the eraser on the actual backdrop. So take a look. I click here. It's erase only the sky color and preserve the mountains. Nice, without any selection. We didn't do any prior selection or any AI selection, nothing. You can press spacebar to kind of drag your camera around if you like. Okay, so this is a really underrated tool in my opinion, with only one disadvantage. We are actually erasing those pixels, so it's destructive. It's a destructive way of erasing part of the image, so we cannot get it back easily. Alright, so after I did this area that kind of touching this, I can actually use the regular eraser to do the rest, because now we got just the sky here, so I can use really a regular eraser for that. Alright, and very quickly we get rid of the sky from this image using backdrop eraser tool. How can we blur only part of the image using Photopea? After you load your image, be sure the layer with the image is active. Then head to the left and search for the blur tool. Look like a little water drop here. With this tool, you'll be able to set up the size of the brush and hardness, and how strong the blur should be. By default, it should be 50%. And with brush like that, we can blur only elements we paint over. So let's try to paint over her face and blur that. It's working, but it's pretty slow. So I'm going to increase the straight of this to 75, and also size of the brush will be a bit larger. Okay. And now we can keep painting until we got proper blur in this area. You can like paint over the same area multiple times to keep blurring it. Alright, it's kind of blurry, but it's not what most of us need. Okay, so that's the blur tool. It's on the list. It can get the job done, but let's try once more with different method. This time I'm going to make a selection first. So we got many different tools that we can do selection with. Let's do ellipse selection. Again, same target, this lady here. We make this simple ellipse selection around her head. Then head for filter. Be sure the layer is selected with the image. Filter and then blur. Gaussian blur, and the blur will only happen inside the selection. So we will not blur the whole image, we will blur only part of it, just like that. Alright, and let me show you just one more method, my favorite one. Duplicate the original layer, so right click, duplicate, and now head to filter without any selection, filter, blur, Gaussian blur, adjust how strong the blur should be. Alright, okay. Now you can apply a mask on this layer with the blur, so put the mask on it. Mask is white, so it's not really working. Let's put the black color on the white mask, so it will mask the whole layer. I use bucket tool for that. It's hidden just below gradient. Okay, I put the black color inside the mask. If I now swap to brush and use the white color, I will be unmasking this blue layer. So I can now use that to unmask what I want to blur. Take a look, I can blur everybody's eyes. So we're kind of showing part of that blur layer above with this white brush. That's my favorite method because it's non-destructive. So in any moment, I can now grab the black brush and get her face sharp again. Alright, so here are 3 different techniques that can help you to do a partial blur of your image using the free editor called Photopea. How to brighten up the image in Photopea. After you load your image, you will need to check out your adjustments. If you cannot see your adjustments just above the layer panel, you might need to turn them on. So head to Window and be sure your adjustments are on. So just click on that. If you got checkbox, means they're already on, like in my case. Alright, and then there are a few adjustments that can help us out. The very first one is the easiest one to use. It will simply give you 2 sliders, one for brightness, one for contrast. So if you just want to bump up the brightness slightly, that's the one to choose. Did you notice? While increasing the brightness, I can now see the noise a bit better. So that's not a good thing. So whatever you're increasing the brightness, you may also consider going back to the original layer and then denoising that at the very end. So first, let me just show you a few more adjustment layers that we could use. So I will delete this one. And then there are others that we could use for the very same purpose. You can use curves. And in this case, you can bend the curve yourself. If I bend it down, it's a bit darker, but if I move it up, the image will be also brighter, but then you can control that. You can move it down in this area. So we bump the brightness only in one area and we secure another area so we didn't like overburn anything. So that's really handy. Alright, So after you play with different adjustments, of course you can use more than one, so I can still go back and add brightness just from these basic adjustments. There's of course the exposure one as well. When we got 3 sliders, one is for exposure, so that's the brightness, darkness, offset, very similar, and the gamma correction at the very end. So all 3 can enhance the brightness greatly. Alright, and let's say I'm happy with the result and how we can now merge it all together. So right now I got non-destructive adjustments, but I want to end up only with one flat image, so I can select all of them holding shift, right click and merge. Alright, I got only one layer again, and I can now click filter, and I recommend to maybe consider some kind of noise, reduce noise filter, as the bumping of the brightness very often can also increase the noise. Alright, and now we need to just save it as the brand new version, so click file and export as the format that you need, like JPEG or PNG, PDF, whatever you like. I'm saving this as a JPEG, and here it is. This was the original one, and this is the one we managed to do with some adjustments. So that's how you can enhance. Photopea is one of the few apps that still allow us to trace bitmap into vector and download the result as SVG without any payments or watermarks. So simply head to photopea.com, then drag and drop your image. This is a regular raster image, pixel base. You can see that after you zoom in. And now we're simply going to trace it into vectors. Head to the image menu at the top left, select Vectorize Bitmap. They will show you the original one plus the preview of the vector image. You may need to adjust that. Right now, he is thinking this is photo, it's definitely a cartoonish like image, so let's change this mode to cartoon. We want to reduce noise, definitely, and merge colors. Alright, and then we can decide how many colors we'll have in total. So let's quickly count. I think it's around 8. Let's try with that. And then I click OK. So now I got the vector version of that image. As you can see, is not perfect, but it's all in vector path, so it can be scaled up and down without losing quality. I can move layers around, and I can also very easily edit them. So if I double tap on the path in the layer section, I can now very quickly adjust the fill color of it. Alright, so that's definitely a big benefit of having proper vector objects. Okay, let's try one more time with different image. Again, we simply drag and drop the image to Photopea. Here it is, then select image, vectorize bitmap. You will see a preview here. Remember, you can modify some settings at the top if you like. Click OK, and you will end up with the vector version that's going to be scaled up and down without losing quality. To save this as the new vector version, you simply click File, Export As, and select SVG. And this way you will get the fully scarable version. Let's save it. Let's perform the final check by opening this SVG in the popular vector editing software. So here I am in Affinity Designer, and if I zoom in really close, as you can see, all of those are vector curves, no raster left, and of course we see all of those paths here in the layer panel, so we can very quickly modify colors and change stuff. How can we flip the whole document in Photopea? After you load your document, simply head to image menu at the top, head for transform, and you will see option to flip horizontally and flip vertically. As you may notice, the whole document flipped. I got 2 layers here, and both of them been flipped. Same thing with the vertical way. So image, transform, flip vertically, and the whole documents, all of the layers will flip. What if you want to flip only one object? Then select that certain layer, and instead of going to image menu, this time we go to edit menu. And from here we can select transform just for this one object and we can flip it horizontally. Here it is again, edit, transform, flip vertically like that. And of course, if you go back to the image, you can still apply this to the whole document. Alright, so here it is. To flip your objects, simply head to the image menu. This will flip the whole document. If you want to flip only one object, select that layer and instead of image, select edit, transform and flip from here. Let me show you how you can easily add an image to your layer in Photopea. Please pay close attention to my mouse pointer. Right now I'm dragging a new image. If you drop it here at the very top, it will open as a new project with that image. That's not what we want. You will need to drop it into existing workspace, just like that. And take a look, now this image appears in the very same document as the new layer. Even though I cannot see it because it's a layer below, I can now confirm that I want to load this image here at the top, okay. And of course we can now rearrange those layers. Keep in mind, this image is still pulling from the original source, so we can now scale it up and transform. At some points you may be required to rasterize this image. In that case, you can right click on it and click rasterize. This way you will get a basic pixel-based layer in your project. Alright, so that's the whole trick. You just simply need to pay attention where your cursor is when you drop the image. If you drop it on the interface elements, it will load as a new project. If you drop it like inside the existing artboard already, it should load as a new layer in existing project. In addition, you can use option File, Open and Place. This way you will open and place your image in an existing project. If you select the other option, File Open, you will open your image as the brand new project. So that's the whole difference. How can we add text in our Photopea document? After you start a brand new document or load your pictures, like in my case, you can head to the left to the main toolbar and search for a text tool. This is letter T, click on that, and you will have a basic text tool. You can now click somewhere in your document and start typing. Keep in mind, if your resolution is really high, like in my case, the text may appear tiny as the default size is only 24 pixels, but we can easily change that using the slider. We stuck at 150, but why not override this from the keyboard? Here's 500 pixels. From here we can also change font and the text color. Don't forget to confirm your text with this OK here. And here's our text. Using Move tool, you can move it around. You can even scale it up and down, but be careful. You will need to hold Shift for a correct proportion. You can apply layer effects on the text layer. Take a look. This is a special text layer. We can click Effects. And from here we can add effects like, for example, shadow. So let's drop shadow here. A very common effect that gives us a bit of cutout between backdrop and the text. You can modify how strong the shadow will be, the color of it, everything's here. Alright, the text is still editable, so when I double tap on it, I can edit the text. You can decide about the text alignment as well. Alright, so that's our basic text tool, but if you click and hold on the text tool, you will see there's another tool hidden below for vertical text. Select that, so you can type vertically like that. To have a greater control on your text, you can open up the paragraph menu here on the right. There's also a character menu here on the right. If you cannot see it, stick to the right, head to Window and just turn it on from the list. As you can see here, we got a greater control when we can adjust multiple settings for our text. If you want to delete the text layer, you can simply do that by deleting the layer like any other layer here on the layer panel. Just click the little trash bin, and it's gone. Where is the color picker and how we can use it in Photopea? Color picker may be hidden behind a crop tool. So by default, you may see a crop tool, but if you press and hold, you will see there's a eyedropper tool here. If you select that, you will be able to click on different colors in your artboard, and they will be picked here in the color section on the right, ready to be useful. Color picker can be also used to recolor existing vector or text objects. So if I double click on that vector shape, I will get this pop-up, and you can of course pick the color from here, but you can also go back to your tool panel while this is still open, grab the color picker and click somewhere in your image. Take a look. I can pick the color using color picker. I'm not limited only to this color spectrum. So that's how you use your color picker. By default, it will pick the color and place it here in the color section for you to use in the next brush stroke, next text or shape. But if you go existing one, you can also grab the picker from the left while you're changing the color and use that as well. Keep in mind, you can save some of those colors as your swatches. So if you change to swatches, you can define new swatch from the color you just picked. You can even give it a unique name. So from here we can see last colors we picked. So those are the colors we just used in the project. You always have this preview of recent used colors, so you can use that and then simply define new, and you can keep those colors in this list so you can easily find them later. Alright, so that's where the color picker is. Usually it's hidden somewhere behind the crop tool. How can we install Photopea on Mac? You will need to use Google Chrome. This way you will see this install button right here in the address bar of Google Chrome. If you click on it on photopea.com, you will have a chance to install what we call a Chrome app. A Chrome app is simply a standalone Chrome window like this one here, without an address bar, all of those extra buttons taking space. So it's like a new window in Chrome, but it's got dedicated icon, it's got a dedicated space in your dock, it can be used to create shortcut, and you will not close it by mistake while closing the Chrome. So that's another advantage. All right, so it's not fully fledged standalone app. You still need to have Chrome on your MacBook, but it's better than just simply using a website. So that's how you do it. Simply use Chrome, head to photopea.com, search for the install button, and you are done. I hope this was helpful. See you in the next one.